Hey, y'all, welcome back to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And we are going to be starting off with something that isn't the topic today because the New York Times did something fucking hilarious.
Oh, no.
So there's a little mayoral race going on in New York City right now.
Oh, right.
And, things are heating up. People are, debating over what's the best bodega cat and, like, which one's going to get to live the Jellicle life. I think that's how they decide mayors there.
Let the decision be between bodega cats.
Look,
that's all we want.
One of them's got to end up at the Heaviside Lair? Heavenside Lair? I
don't
know.
Are you still, referring to the musical Cats?
I might be. Look, I had to watch that movie once, so I'll refer it until I get my money back.
Quote unquote, had to.
Look, we must not forget humanity's darkest moments. Otherwise, we are doomed to repeat them again.
I mean, I don't doubt Hollywood is capable of putting out a Cats 2.
The quest for more cats.
Yeah.
Look, if it involves Idris Elba saying the dumbest lines with the strongest amount of commitment and clearly understanding how fucking dumb the movie he's in is, I'll do it. Fine. Totally fine.
Laughing all the way to the bank, I'm sure.
It's like, oh, what? You want me, the sexiest man in the world, to be the one cat that is clothed? Deal. Sure. He wears a little trench coat and a hat. It's very confounding.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, but the New York mayoral race.
So the New York Times decided to do interviews with all the candidates to decide who they were going to endorse. And Mara Gay, who's a reporter there, was talking with a number of them. And this is a question that tripped up not one, but two candidates. Do you happen to know what the median sales price for a home in Brooklyn is right now?
I saw one of the answers to this. Yeah. Yes. But for those at home, Dusty, continue.
Oh, yeah. So one answer was given by a dude named Ray McGuire. He's an investment banker. He's a venture capitalist. And he guessed, I don't know, somewhere between 80 and 90,000. And so, look, from a venture capitalist...
In what world and what year?
Look, I get it. He's a venture capitalist. He's probably living off of, like, Moon Juice and Soylent. Like, he doesn't live in our world.
Does he just have his mortgage payments on, like, auto renewal? Like, does he just not see numbers anymore?
I don't think he's ever had a mortgage, if I had to make a guess, but but the real damning one is from a dude by the name of Sean Donovan. Now, Sean Donovan was Barack Obama's Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for his first term, and prior to that, worked in the New York City version of that from 2004 to 2009. And when he was asked this question, he said, quote, "In Brooklyn, huh? I don't know for sure. I'd guess it's around 100,000.
That's the one I saw.
To which Mara Gay said, it's 900,000. To which he replied, median home, including apartments?
Livid. And he should know better.
Like, he should drop, like, this is the job that you have had for your entire goddamn life. You need to, drop out of the race now, my dude. It is. Yes. Find a new sector, live in the fucking woods. You're goddamn done.
Yes, because now we know you were terrible at your job previously.
Yeah. Like, how you could, I was trying to think, when was a house in Brooklyn worth $100,000? So I looked up in 2009 when he was working there. The median price for a house in Brooklyn was a little under, I want to say it was $495,000 or $395,000 for a home. And it had just gone down from 2007 where it was $600,000. So he was working at a time in which housing prices were still far above $100,000 per home.
Yeah, so this isn't a case of shifting baseline syndrome.
Oh,
it's
no,
not like...
No.
Oh, you were a young scrap living in Brooklyn in 1983 and a house then was $100,000 and you're just like, yeah, that's the price, right? No, motherfucker.
Like maybe the 70s when half the city was on fire with fucking insurance fraud. But even then, I don't even know.
No one wanted to live in New York. Yeah. Then maybe you could get a house for 100. I mean, it just cracks me up because it's like, how do you not go in and completely overblow the number? Like I would have said 2.5 million. I would have guessed that as the average.
Oh yeah, I think that's even a reasonable guess. But yeah, it just blows my mind. So Sean Donovan, I hate that I'm saying this above Andrew Yang for all the nonsense that he's been doing, but you need to drop out of the race first, dude. You, then maybe Ray McGuire, and then Andrew, we need to have a fucking talk.
Yeah, no, I would still put Andrew at the forefront.
That's true, yeah. When you got Stephen Miller agreeing with you, it's not a good look, my guy. One of these days, I'm sure we will have an episode on this fucking New York City election because just weird shit every single day. Yeah, it's just dudes saying weird shit and highly qualified women trying to get attention.
Oh.
So
did they even bring in the rent is too damn high candidate?
Oh, Jimmy McMillan? He actually hasn't run for mayor of New York since 2013.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's why the rent's gotten too high.
Exactly. Look, we can't place this all on Jimmy. He's one man doing his best.
But right now there is no man doing his best.
Oh no. So where did we leave off last time, Una? No, I remember.
Shit hit a fan that wasn't working because of power outages.
Yes. Poor Gray Davis, a man with the face of someone you would expect Gray Davis to look like.
Yes.
He's the governor of California. He enters the governorship with a humongous fucking budget surplus, and he is currently using it to fuel the programs that he is most passionate about, which are education and infrastructure. It is infrastructure year. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
However, two major things happen. One, the California electricity crisis completely brings the state to its knees due to a mix of deregulation by the previous Republican governor and outside forces manipulating the price of electricity, such as Enron, which led to multiple rolling blackouts, people being affected during the middle of summer and the middle of winters, and just having a very bad time. One out of the three big electrical companies goes bankrupt, and it's not great. And everyone's electricity bills have tripled as a result. The number two thing is the dot-com boom, all those new fancy computer jobs and all that income tax money coming in.
Pets.com.
Yeah, Pets.com is gone, man. Your beans are worthless. You got to go to, They're
just beans.
Yeah, you got to go onto altavista.com/jobs and
search the Netscape.
Oh my God, poor Netscape. Yeah, and so the dot-com bubble happened. All that money's now gone. And something I actually completely forgot about is I missed a fourth thing that was actually probably the biggest catalyst behind what happened. So there was that, and there was Prop 187, which Gray Davis said he was no longer going to try to make constitutional, predominantly because it removed a fuck ton of rights for undocumented immigrants, but also potentially just normal people of color, because if under Prop 187, if you even suspect someone might be an undocumented person, you have to immediately call the state attorney general and INS and get them on their fucking case.
Oh, I mean, I can just imagine the state's attorney being like, absolutely not. I'm turning off my phone. Please stop calling. There are too many racists in this state.
But yeah, and so it went to court. It was found to be unconstitutional. The previous governor, Pete Wilson, was trying really hard to overturn that result. Gray Davis becomes governor and he says, I'm no longer interested in fighting this. Just throw it out. But then there's the fourth thing. So the issue with having a budget with so much money put towards education and infrastructure, and then all of that money suddenly falling away, is you got to figure out a way to pay for it now. And the only option that Gray Davis really had was to do the thing that boomers hate the most. He had to raise taxes. And so one of the ways that he found that he could raise taxes in a way that, wouldn't have to go through the legislature is he made an executive decision to raise the registration of cars, the price to do that, by 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not great. Look, there's going to be some arguments against it in the future. And the number one that I can personally think of is cars are expensive to begin with, and maintaining a car, paying for the insurance, paying for gas, and now tripling the registration. Because here in Chicago, it's a yearly thing. And it's when I last paid it, it was $100 a year for just to be able to park here and not get towed. So if that suddenly went up to 300, that would be devastating. That would suck. And yeah, and it caused people to lose their goddamn minds. And so this process did bring in some money, but not nearly enough. And all you kind of get in return is you can sort of fund some stuff while, literally every boomer in the fucking state is losing their goddamn mind, justifiable or not.
Right. And meanwhile, people who have no other recourse to get up to their job suddenly are hit.
So using the rising taxes as a liftoff point, a group of California conservatives got together in the early part of 2003 and began the process of recalling Davis. The first group would be the People's Advocate. Now, this group was originally founded by a guy named Paul Gann, but due to ill health and his eventual death, leadership would then fall to his right-hand man, an anti-tax activist by the name of Ted Costa. And working separate from them, there would be the Recall Gray Davis Committee. Now, this one in particular was run by a former Republican state assemblyman by the name of Howard Kaloogian. And together, these groups would work together to gather the signatures needed to force Davis into a recall, which is much, much easier said than done. So the last episode, we talked about how every single governor since Reagan in California has had to face the potential of a recall, but no one's ever gotten the signatures across the line. So the reason that this is so hard is that California law states that you have to have a specific number of signatures to be able to make this a ballot initiative. And that number is based on the number of people who voted in the last general election. So you take that number, so their last one would have been in 2002. And of that number, you have to find 12% of that. So 12% of the number of people who voted in 2002 is the number of signatures that you need to be verified to be able to recall a statewide official. So what they needed was 897,156 signatures.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a very specific number, but it's incredibly hard to get to.
What are you talking about? It's not even 1 million.
Yeah, and this isn't your fucking change.org sort of thing where you can just hop in, put in your name, and you're fucking fine. No, you have to print shit out. You have to fill everything out by hand. You have to have people fill everything out exactly by hand. You have to have copies upon copies upon copies, and you have to store all this shit until you can drive it up to Sacramento and drop it off.
Sacramento?
I know, the town. Give me one reason to go to Sacramento, other than I wish to be murdered by a serial killer.
Joe Didion's from Sacramento.
All right.
Greta Gerwig, also from Sacramento.
Oh, okay. This is where Greta Gerwig began her serial killing career.
This is
which honestly it'd be a pretty
This is where Lady Bird takes place. No one was murdered.
Oh my God. You're already creating a great tourism guide for Sacramento. Women of Sacramento and the murders that didn't happen.
That did not happen.
Some people said Joan Didion used to keep bodies beneath her house. Didn't happen.
That was a lie.
We'll now go into the crawl shelter where no bodies exist.
Just a crawl space.
Yep. I don't know why. I'm just picturing Joan Didion like hiding in the corner, just ready to scare people.
Just folded up on herself, smoking her iconic cigarette.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. That'd be so great. I mean, she works for tips, but also cigarettes.
Oh my God.
So they're going to need a little less than 900,000 signatures if they want this to work. And the thing though is those signatures have to be registered voters and they have to be legible. And the person who decides whether or not they meet the criteria would be the Secretary of State, a Democrat by the name of Kevin Shelley. And look, history proved Kevin Shelley to be an above the board dude in regards to this election. But any opposition party knows that if you are going after someone in power, you have to be prepared for more signatures than likely to be tossed aside. So in reality, they don't need just 900,000 signatures. They probably need at least 1 million, if not more, if they want to be sure that when the count is done, they have enough. So the groups would get their initial approval to begin signature collections on March 25th, and they would have a deadline of September 2nd to submit them all. But the thing is, there's a whole extra layer to this too. So the law states that if enough signatures are gathered, then the lieutenant governor has to set up the election date. The stipulation is that the date has to either be within 80 days of the signatures being verified, or if they are verified 180 days before the next scheduled statewide election, then the election day would automatically be placed to the next scheduled statewide election, which is a long way of saying that if they get the signatures in early, then they can have the recall in the fall of 2003. And if they get them in by the deadline, then the recall will be held on California's presidential primary day in March of 2004.
Oh, when people will already be coming out.
Oh, yeah. And look, looking back at it, the California Democratic race, actually the entire primary that year was kind of all said and done once Howard Dean went hurrah on TV. Like, John Kerry cakewalked to that fucking nomination. It wasn't even close. But at the time, early in the summer of 2003, it really seemed like it could have been anyone's race. Anyone between Howard Dean, Senator John Edwards, and John Kerry. And just knowing that there was going to be that huge potential battle between a strong progressive and a horse-faced centrist, I mean, that's going to bring out people. And you got to make sure that you hold this on a day where Democrats are going to be busy doing, I don't know, Halloween shit.
Voting for the Oscars.
Yeah. Oh my God. Fuck off. Yes, that is correct. And to make things even more difficult, and we're not even talking the day they submit the signatures, we're talking about the date that the state verifies them. So they could very well get all the signatures in by September 2nd, which would be enough time to have the election in October or November. But if they aren't verified by the 3rd, then the recall is going straight to March. So if they wanted even a chance of having this election in 2003, they needed to get the signatures in by mid-August at the absolute latest. And initially, the movement was extremely word of mouth, relying on radio, websites, email to get the word out about the recall because it's what Ted Costa and Howard Kaloogian were used to doing. And Gray, well, he wasn't super worried about that. In fact, he was quoted as calling this entire effort political mischief by a bunch of losers.
No.
You know, you know how Republicans and rural folks really love it when you throw shit at them from an ivory tower. Love that shit. Can't get enough.
Gray, you're not wrong, but just say that with your inside voice.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the press and be like, look at this Ted Costa motherfucker. What's he ever done? Hey, guess what, Ted? I'm still going to take taxes from you, you dumb fuck. It's called the Ted Costa tax.
Pay up, you son of a bitch.
Look, I didn't want to triple your car registration prices, but Ted Costa kept talking shit. I don't know what you want from me.
Here we are.
Here's his home address.
Oh my God.
So by May of 2003, Costa and Kaloogian had been able to get about 300,000 signatures. And of those, they'd only been able to send about 18,000 to the state, which meant that if they kept up this pace, they would finish with only 800,000 signatures and fall about 100,000 short of their goal. If this was going to work, they needed a miracle. Or short of that, an asshole with a ton of money. So Darrell Issa initially made his wealth after founding Directed Electronics in 1982.
This piece of shit?
This piece of shit. We got an origin story for modern history's worst boring person.
All right.
So
okay.
I learned some shit about Darrell Issa that I find very interesting. It can be couched in some very humanizing shit, but at the same time, like, if this would have been anyone else's story, I would probably love it. So anyway, so Darrell Issa makes his money with a company called Directed Electronics, and the company mainly focused on anti-theft devices for cars. And the reason he chose that as a business was because Issa had been charged at least twice in his life for grand theft auto.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So the first time was in 1976, and it seemed to be shortly after his father died that he kind of was having a rough time, and he attempted to steal a Maserati, which if you're going to steal a car, steal one that can get away from the cops. But later in
pro tip for you kids.
Yeah. But later in life, he would be charged with Grand Theft Auto once again. The charges would be dropped, but it's not a good look. But the story kind of goes, if someone's going to know how to stop theft of a car, fucking get a goddamn car thief in on this shit. They'll figure it out. So prior to creating Directed Electronics, he did begin the company by the name of Steel Stopper, which was the same exact idea. The problem with Steel Stopper, though, is it was not making a lot of money. They were on the verge of getting a contract with Ford, but the money just wasn't coming in fast enough. And weirdly enough, the building burned down. And it burned down 3 weeks after Daryl bumped up his insurance coverage by 462%.
Oh my God.
And it burned everything inside except the computers he took home the day before.
Oh my God.
And the insurance company initially only paid $25,000 because they're like, this is an arson. This is a clear arson. But they couldn't prove it. And eventually they paid him out and he used that money to start Directed Electronics.
Yeah, put him in jail. My God.
So ISO was able to get deals with Rolls-Royce and BMW to start installing Directed Electronics alarms in their cars before branching out to home alarms. And fun fact, if back in the early 80s you heard a car saying, please step away from the car, more than likely you were listening to Daryl's actual voice.
This is getting so weird. Like, I already didn't like the guy.
Like I'm saying, Danny Trejo's admitted to doing some really terrible shit in his life, but he's turned it around and he's become a peach of a human being. Like, if this was Danny Trejo's story, I would fucking love it. I'd be all in. Just be like, you arson the fuck out of your old business. Fucking you do you. Get your money.
There's something about Daryl Ice's face, first and foremost. But then the fact that he's like definitely involved in, Grand Auto Larceny?
Oh, Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, yeah. The game.
You know the video game, Grand Auto Larceny?
Yeah. It just rolls off the tongue. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. And then, this just feels like his life sounds like the parts of Goodfellas that didn't make it to the movie.
Like, he's just all the editing room floor cuts of Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Like all the shit that Scorsese's best friend was like, Martin, this sucks.
Right. It's like, you know what? This is going on a little long. And we want people to like the protagonist.
Oh, my God.
So we cut these scenes. That's what Daryl Ice is made of.
Oh, man. So Daryl began earning millions and parlayed all this new power into the world of politics. Most notably, he was the chairman of Prop 209, a voter initiative that ended affirmative action in California. Once again, it passed 55 to 45, the same numbers as Prop 187 got. Thanks, California. You're really good at this.
The worst.
So Daryl also fought really hard to have the 1996 GOP convention in his new hometown of San Diego. And as thanks, when the 48th District's congressional seat opened up, ISO would swoop in and win the seat. But a term and a half into his career, Daryl was aching for bigger boots. So on May 6th, he created his own recall effort named Rescue California. And the whole thing would be bankrolled with $1.7 million of Daryl's own money. And what it gave the recall movement wasn't just a financial boost, but actual legitimacy. I mean, Ted Costa was passionate, but he's viewed as a kook. And Howard Kaloogian didn't really have that much name recognition to begin with. But with an honest-to-God congressman heading things up, well, this was something that people could actually feel safe getting behind and not being embarrassed when it all fell apart. And this also marked the moment that Gray Davis started to take it seriously.
No.
Because not only did Daryl have the money to make this work, but if the recall happened, he might have the popularity to take the governorship for himself. So the very week that Rescue California was created, an advisor of Gray Davis named Steve Smith would create his own anti-recall group. Are you ready for this sexiness? This darling of marketing?
Oh, how bad is it?
Taxpayers Against the Recall.
You couldn't find one out of work screenwriter.
I know, right?
To just
it is staple of marketing executives.
Oh my God.
This is what you fucking bring up. And yeah, comparing that to Rescue California is sleek, it's quick, it gets the idea across really fast. It doesn't sound like someone first drafted it and then went to go drink a scotch.
It sounds like an album.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Rescue California. That album was fine.
Yeah. The Eagles live in concert, Rescue California.
Oh my God. It's just Don Henley singing Prop 187.
Yeah. He found Jesus and he got real nasty.
So the goal of Taxpayers Against the Recall, other than to have a boring ass name, was to attempt to raise between $1 to $4 million to begin their own signature gathering group as a show of popular force. But despite these actions, a spokesman would state to CBS that, quote, with the numbers of signatures that are turned in like that, the Republicans aren't scaring anyone. Essentially saying, look, they don't have anything now, Gray's gonna be fine. Which must have been a real kick in the dick when on July 14th, the three petitioning groups rolled up to Sacramento and submitted the final batch of 1.6 million signatures, nearly twice the amount they needed in a full month ahead of schedule.
No. No.
And Kevin Shelley, being the solid dude he is, verified all those signatures in 9 days.
Wow.
And on July 23rd, he would verify that out of all those signatures, 1.3 million were legit.
Holy shit.
Which led to the lieutenant governor, a guy by the name of Cruz Bustamante, to have to declare an election within 80 days. And Cruz chose October 7th. And then chaos reigned, Una. Chaos. You see, one of the big problems with this rush to be able to have the election as soon as possible was that there really isn't enough time to have 2 separate elections, because ideally what you would do is you would have one election that says, hey, should Gray Davis be recalled? And then at a future date, if people say yes, then you get to pick who would replace him. But at this time, you've got 76 days until the election. And so now both questions have to be on the ballot.
No.
Uh-huh. Which makes things really fucking tricky for the Democrats. Do you find a high-profile candidate to run in case Davis loses the recall? Or do you just fully support Davis the whole way through, hell or high water? I mean, it's not like you could actually do both, right?
Dusty, tell me they didn't do both.
Look, that would be madness to do both. And sensible, honestly, compared to what they ended up doing.
No.
Because it's not like they didn't have options. As much as I have stated my historic dislike, Dianne Feinstein was pushed heavily to run. A lot of people viewing her as someone who could actually just beat Gray Davis because he already has too much baggage as of right now. So let's just have a fresh start. Dianne can hop in. She'll win the election. We'll have a new governor. We could just move the fuck on. But Dianne Feinstein refused. And it was entirely because she had to face her own mayoral recall in 1983 when she was mayor of San Francisco. And she chose instead to support Davis despite the fact that his extremely negative ads were very mean and very awful. But she wanted to support the guy. And so for the next month, the only major Democratic candidate running would be Gray Davis.
That's good, right?
Well, the problem is, I mean, I'll throw out a hypothetical. Let's say, Gray Davis is the only guy there, but there's going to be debates. Gray's technically not running for governor, so technically you wouldn't have to invite him to the debates.
I'm sorry, what?
Something they ended up doing is that since Gray Davis was not a candidate for the recall, he would be given time before debates to answer questions and discuss his policies.
This is terrible.
Yeah, Gray was fucked. Gray was completely and utterly fucked during this whole process, but it's also just because they just weren't taking it fucking seriously. So as for the Republicans, holy shit, did things become a free-for-all. So today we mostly remember action movie star Arnold Schwarzenegger as the main Republican running and no one else. But prior to the filing deadline in August, a lot of big-name Republicans announced they were running. Of course, there was Congressman Darrell Issa, fresh off his new victory. There was a guy by the name of Bill Simon, who was a somewhat obscure businessman who had won an upset victory in the GOP primary to face off against Davis in 2002. There was the former mayor of Los Angeles, Richard Riordan, who was the first Republican mayor they'd had in 30 years and the last they've had since. And on top of that, there were rumors that 1994 GOP Senate nominee and former state assemblyman Michael Huffington might hop into the race as well. And of course, there were rumors of Arnold, but nothing confirmed, at least until August 6th. On an episode of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Arnold would be his guest, and it would be there that he would officially announce his candidacy for the recall race, which set everyone else into immediate panic mode. No one knew he was going to do this. Like there were theories that like eventually Arnold's going to say he's going to run. No one guessed he was going to do it on the Tonight Show. And so most directly, it would lead to Richard Riordan, the former mayor of Los Angeles, dropping out of the race. So Richard and Arnold had a gentleman's agreement earlier in the year that it would be a bad idea for both of them to run at the same time. So they made an agreement that only one of them would run. And when Richard announced that he was running, he didn't hear anything from Arnold, so he figured everything was fine. And so when he was watching the Tonight Show and Arnold announced he was running, Richard lost his fucking mind. He was shocked, pissed off, betrayed, and the next morning he said, I think he's going to be a great candidate and I'm dropping out of the race.
What?
Yeah, because look, you are a former mayor of Los Angeles. How are you going to go up against Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. That's the smartest decision that's happened so far in this entire debacle. What I don't understand is like, why do they have a gentleman's agreement? 2, Arnold, what the fuck? Like, you're just going to stab your man in the back like that?
Yeah. I imagine it was probably one of those things where it's like, I'm the mayor of Los Angeles from 93 to 2000. Of course, I'm friends with all these celebrities. Everyone wants 100%. To glad hand me. Arnold's going to run for office one day, so might as well have this gentleman's agreement.
Right, yeah.
And Arnold's like, fuck your gentleman's agreement. I fucking kill aliens, dude.
I got the name recognition.
Yeah, what are you going to do, Richard Riordan?
Yeah, that doesn't have a good governor name.
No, but yeah, it was an immediate betrayal. But this would also be the day that Darrell Issa would drop out of the race. You see, his campaign hadn't been going as well as he had hoped, mainly because people were rightfully accusing him of funding the recall just so he could be governor.
Yep.
Yeah, that was what he was doing. He essentially paid $1.7 million for his own campaign before the campaign. So sensing that he might lose the good thing that he currently has in Congress, Issa dropped out and encouraged all major Republican candidates to do the same, except for Arnold, of course. He would spend the next 2 decades as a congressman before losing to Mike Levin in 2018 and then regaining a seat in a different district in 2020. Meanwhile, for the Democrats, Arnold announcing his candidacy was part of a double shot of bad news. You see, early on when the signatures had been put forward, there were about 5 lawsuits that got put forward as well at the same time. Now, 2 of them were for the same thing, and that was the idea that if you recall a governor, it only makes sense that the lieutenant governor should arise to that position, and that having a vote for who replaces them does not make sense, which I get the argument. It kind of makes sense. I think it goes completely against the what's the word I'm looking for? The spirit of the idea. But
right. If we're going back to Tammany Hall, just like elevating the person beneath the corrupt governor helps you not at all. You need to clean house. It is absolutely
not what Hiram Johnson would have been for, but it's a good legal argument.
Yeah.
The problem, though, is that the state Supreme Court did not see it that way. And they said, no, this isn't an impeachment. It's not a death in office. This isn't a resignation. This is a fucking recall. And I know there's only ever been one other, but this one's ours, and we're going to do it right. And so the day after Arnold says, I'm running for governor, the Democrats are like, hey, we need a candidate now. But they had the perfect guy in mind. And you've already heard him. You've already heard his name. He's Lieutenant Governor Cruz Bustamante. So
he's going to cruise to the finish line.
Look, if you don't doubt that that was the first draft that they ran for his motto, for the people who brought you taxpayers against the recall, of course that was a pitch. Is probably the same guy.
Yes. Yeah.
So Cruz was born in 1953 in Dinuba, California, before his family moved to San Joaquin. Of his childhood, Cruz spoke of working in fields, picking cotton and peaches to get by. After graduating high school, he would attend Fresno City College before transferring to Cal State Fresno for his BA degree. And at the age of 40, Cruz would be elected to the California State Assembly. And not 3 years later, he was named the Speaker of the Assembly. When asked by a shithead reporter if he planned on enacting a radical Latino policy, Cruz stated he planned simply to enact policy for all people, because we're all deserving of the same governance, no matter what.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Cruz was a shooting fucking star in the Democratic Party. When he won the lieutenant governor position in 1996, he was not only the highest ranking elected Latino officer in America, but he was the very first Latino to win statewide election in California in over 120 years.
Wow.
And by all rights, Cruz Bustamante was the future of the California Democrats, which meant when State Insurance Commissioner John Garamendi decided the same day that he was also going to run, the state party lost their fucking minds. Not just because they'd all already decided that Cruz is clearly going to be a guy who can both run for the office and defend Gray Davis at the fucking same time, but John had fucked up majorly at his job only 2 years prior. So State Insurance Commissioner was a position that was created in California in the year 2000, and John Garamendi ends up winning it in the very first election. So in 2001, John seized control of a life insurance company by the name of Executive Life. The company was on the ropes, and people were going to lose their policies if he didn't do something. So he found a group of French investors who bought the company and saved the day, at least until people realized those investors were actually employees of a bank owned by the French government, that then proceeded to make billions of dollars off the corpse of the company. And this is also a major crime because legally, a government-owned bank is not allowed to own a U.S. insurance company. So now, John had gutted a life insurance company and caused an international incident between America and France. And so, of course, both sides blamed him immediately and moved the fuck on. And then 2 years later, he's like, I'm going to run for governor. I don't think people forget when I accidentally sold their life insurance to a bunch of French assholes.
You're not even allowed into Napa. No,
Sir,
no,
we need to send you to the lesser wine regions. I've heard
Ithaca.
Yeah, Ithaca's fine. It's definitely lesser, but it's fine. I was thinking more like North Dakota wine.
Oh.
But lucky for the Democrats, Garamendi would drop out the day after his announcement because apparently he's very easy to bully, especially when you're constantly throwing his most recent mistake in his face and constantly saying, the fuck are you trying to fucking do, man? We just started taking this seriously yesterday. Get on fucking board. So Garamendi would drop out the next day. And today you can find John Garamendi in the halls of Congress because he is a congressman.
No!
Yep. He has been a congressman since, I believe, 2011.
For what district?
The second or fourth? I don't know. One of them.
God damn it, California.
Yeah, the more you dive into California politics, the more depressing it gets. Just a lot of really terrible people on both sides of the aisle end up rising to power. And it's terrible from just like, you're an awful human being all the way to, you had one job and you fucked it up very quickly. So now the big day for all of this would be August 9th. And this was the official filing deadline for all candidates. And if you want to run for governor of California, then you better listen the fuck up because we have details on details for qualifying. And if you even screw up one of these, it is the end of your whole goddamn campaign. Do you fucking get me? Are you ready for this? Get a pen and paper. First, if you are running for a political party, you need 65 signatures from members of your own party. And second, you need to pay me $3,500.
That's it?
Oh, it gets harder. Now, if you're running as one of the recognized third parties, so like the Greens or the Peace and Freedom Party, then I'm going to need you to get me 150 signatures from members of your own party, but I don't want your fucking money, no cash. And finally, if you're an independent, I need 65 signatures and $3,500. And to all of those of you who can't pay or don't want to pay the $3,500, we've got you covered. All you have to do is bring us 10,000 signatures instead, and we will waive the fee. Surprise, no one did this. No one chose that option.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, you had to get somewhere between 65 to 150 signatures based on what party you were running for, or if you were running as an independent, and you had to cut a check for the most part for $3,500.
So everyone just runs independent, takes out like a personal loan, and the state turns into like a Brazilian election.
I mean, do you want to guess how many people qualified for the ballot?
As many as signatures were needed?
It's in between. It was 135 candidates.
Oh my God.
Of those candidates, 49 are Democrats, 42 are Republicans, 32 are independents, 4 are Greens, 3 are Libertarians, 2 are American Independents, which are kind of like an offshoot of the Constitution Party, 2 are natural law members, and 1 was from the Peace and Freedom Party, because even when the bar is set so fucking low, the communist-leaning party still cannot get their shit together.
Oh.
For my research, there were 2 Socialist Worker Party nominees who all they had to do was get 65 signatures and $3,500, and they couldn't even do that.
Look, okay, they're still dealing with a lot of generational trauma from the blacklist.
God damn it.
But this is basically like the new gold rush. Like I just imagine like everyone on the outskirts of, the Nevada, California state line, and someone from the government has a pistol, shoots it, and all these people rush in being like, vote for me.
Like someone runs into a fucking bar in Reno is just like, there's governorships over
there. Governorships! Yeah!
Pew, 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 pew. Oh, I love that image so much better. So of these 135 people, 40 of them were businessmen and women, 14 were attorneys. You had 7 engineers, 8 people that actually had previous political experience, and 2 pornographers.
Nice. I would say I'm surprised there weren't more like Hollywood types, but the pay was terrible.
We'll get to it. I don't want to spoil shit. We'll get to some
God.
Shit.
Okay, get to it already.
So of course America lost its fucking mind because look, you're Jay Leno. You don't like to work to begin with.
Yep.
You get a gift like this, 135 people running for a job that everyone wants. If you want power, it just writes itself. And so look, there is nothing that I would love more than to talk about all 135 people who ran for this particular office. But I don't think we have 3 months free. So, and I would like to say some genuinely amazing people did end up running, but also some kind of off-kilter people did as well. And so I'd like to focus on a few of them just to get this out of my system. Now, I'm going to stop before we get to the top 10 because I think the top 10 deserve their own moment because it's kind of amazing who got in the top 10 percentile of this election. So let's start with who finished in 120th place, an independent by the name of Scott Davis. Now, Scott dropped out of the race prior to the election, but that's mostly because people found out he might have done a murder. So, allegedly, Scott murdered the lover of his ex-wife in 1996. And this guy was like an heir to some sort of New England food fortune or something like that. Like, his wife left him, started hooking up with this millionaire, and supposedly he shot the guy and burned down his home.
I'm going to say for flavor, it was Gordon's Fish Sticks.
Oh my God, that sounds so close to right. You killed Steve Gordon? You monster.
The son of the fish sticks, man?
That guy toiled in the fucking bay for decades, and you just snuff out that lineage, you fucking asshole.
You monster.
I said good day. Send him to fish jail. And so in 2003, when he was running, the Atlanta police stated, "We were very surprised to learn of his candidacy. Just because the charges were dropped in 1998 doesn't mean we're dropping the case against him or that he's been eliminated as a suspect." They made a very strong point to say, this guy is still the prime suspect. We're just looking.
I just love this idea of like, couldn't have been more happy that this recall happened because we have been looking for this guy for years.
Fuck you, Ben Scott. So he would eventually be found guilty of murder in 2006 and sentenced to life in prison. Now, there is a bit of an asterisk on this because when I did research into this guy, the first things that come up were about 4 or 5 websites saying that he is innocent, that he didn't do all this stuff, that there's all this evidence that he is being framed or set up by a police department that just couldn't actually find the person who did the murder, which, I mean, we've seen enough HBO documentaries to know that happens.
That is several podcasts.
Yeah, there's whole podcast careers that are made on this. And so I'm just going to say, I'm not an expert on this case. I read just enough to get this tidbit. I Jay Leno'd the fuck out of this section. So if you're more interested in it, definitely look into the Scott Davis murder trial and all that. It's
start your own podcast on it.
Oh my God.
See if we care.
Yeah. Damn it.
All we know is he finished last.
No, he finished like 15th from last.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Of those who mattered, he finished last.
Yeah. Of those who had a Wikipedia page, he
Love
finished.
it.
Oh no, there was another guy named Logan Clements who finished lower than him. I was debating whether or not to include him. He doesn't have his own page, but he did try to build a hotel on a Supreme Court justice's land as a libertarian protest. This is why I didn't include it. I knew you would make that face. I saw it coming, and I didn't want to hurt you. So finishing in 97th is a guy by the name of Warren Farrell. Now, Farrell initially gained prominence in the 70s as a second-wave feminist and a board member on the National Organization of Women, and he would turn heel in his later years and became the founding father of the men's rights movement. Una, does this track for you? Yeah, he wrote a book essentially justifying men getting paid more than women. I didn't read it, but it seems to imply that men just make better decisions in the workplace.
What did we do? When did he snap? Like, and I say that as a woman. What did we do?
I almost guarantee it was a bad date.
He got into now for the pussy.
Yeah.
But he wasn't getting any.
Hey, any of you second wave feminists down to fuck?
Yes, exactly. He was nice guy TMing an entire organization. And he's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. I thought I'd have a trad wife by now.
I bought a peacock feather hat and everything.
No one is looking at my fedora.
Oh my God. If I could get away with it, I would love to have merch that said any of you second wave feminists want to fuck. Vote Warren Farrell. Oh, Lord.
I'm sure he was riding from one popular wave to another because this is the early 2000s.
Like he just had to wait for post-feminism. That's like all he had to do, and he couldn't even do that.
No, I'm saying maybe he was siren-songed away from the right path by all the Von Dutch bullshit that was visible.
Oh my God. He attended a fucking presentation at a Marriott and then he just died inside. So we're going to skip from 97th place to 29th.
Great.
And so 29th is held by an actress simply known as Angeline. Are you familiar with Angeline?
I am not.
The sad thing, well, not the sad thing, the kind of cool thing is in, I would say probably about a year or two, a lot more people are going to know who the fuck she is.
Ooh.
So Angeline is a bit of a very known commodity in Los Angeles, especially if you were growing up there in the throughout the 80s. So she was born Ronia Tamar Goldberg, and she would change her name once she moved from Poland to her new home in Los Angeles. She joined her boyfriend's punk band in 1978, and the band did fine, but they weren't getting the attention that they were really hoping to get. So to gain more of an audience, they began posting pictures of Angeline around town and released their new song under her name. Now, Angeline, I don't think she would be offended by me saying this, is 100% the bimbo aesthetic. Bleach blonde hair, pink clothes, a voice in a completely other octave. And she still dresses and acts like this to this day. She's, I would say, probably in her 70s as of right now, but she is deep in. She is deep in, is living her fucking best life.
Nice.
But when she would actually get famous is she met a rich billboard owner.
Sure, that sounds like a thing in LA.
Yeah, just like some creep who owns 200 billboards. And he seemed kind of weird because he was like, you know what'd be fucking funny? Let's just put all my empty billboards. We'll grab all of them. We'll just put up a giant billboard that says Angeline. You'll be like posed all sexy on it, and we won't sell shit.
It'll just be some like weird contemporary art.
Yeah, and essentially they created an 80s meme because no one knew what the fuck Angeline was.
Love it.
But out of it, she ended up getting her own record deal. She ended up getting cast in a couple of movies. I believe Earth Girls Are Easy was one of the ones that she was cast in.
Adorable.
She gets a bunch of modeling gigs out of it. She ends up making enough money to buy a pink convertible. I want to say it's a pink Corvette that she drives to this day. She has a Maltese whose fur she dyes pink on a regular basis. And to make things even more fun and why everyone's going to know who she is that Peacock, NBC's online thing, has a show coming out next year called Angeline, where Emmy Rossum will be playing her.
What?
Yeah, it's going to be all about her fucking life.
We're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited for it because her punk years sounded so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're starting to hit that post-punk 80s aesthetic where it's like, we're just listening to Fugazi and punk's dead. And she's just like, I am wearing pink. Yep. These are the lyrics I am singing. Fucking deal with it. And it must have been like a weird breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Also, I for one always loved the like dirty LA aesthetic.
Yeah, it is kind of like a slightly trashy aesthetic there. It's just like, I don't know if this is for like a strip club near my home or like...
Yeah, it's like the lines are for sure blurred.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just kind of a really cool way for like just some some weird billboard air to be like, let's just fucking do this goof. And if something good comes out of it for you, then fucking great. I don't care.
Amazing. Very here for it.
But who could possibly beat Angeline? Well, in 28th place is a guy by the name of Garrett Gruner. Now, Garrett only beat her by 26 votes, but he's the guy who founded AskJeeves.com.
Stop it.
The founder of Ask.com barely beats Angeline.
This is so weird.
In 16th place, it'd be a real asshole of a guy by the name of Leo Gallagher. Now, you probably know him better as, like, if you saw a watermelon getting smashed, you'd be like, oh, that guy.
Gallagher. Oh,
yeah,
my God.
The comedian Gallagher. I would love to go into, like, 20 minutes of why Gallagher is terrible.
But all you have to do is remember the watermelon smashing.
Yeah, I saw Gallagher live when I was a kid, and my parents expected it to be a very fun show. I watched a lot of his comedy, the things they replayed on Comedy Central, and I thought, I was like, oh, this is really fun and great. And he's just a prick. He's an asshole to the audience during the show. The watermelon smashing bit goes on for like an hour. This
sounds so horrible.
It's the worst. Well, and he's tried to rebrand himself as an alt-right comic in the past couple of years too.
No, it's
like he's trying to get away from the watermelon smashing. I mean, that's going to tear apart your arms at some point.
This douche beats out our Angeline?
Yeah, this motherfucker finishes in 16th place.
There's no justice.
Well, it's even worse because an even worse person beats him at 13th. I tried to find clips of this dude, but there's a guy by the name of Van Vo, who the main thing I could find about him is they refer to him as the Rush Limbaugh of Little Saigon.
Everything about that hurts.
Yeah, it's a terrible sentence in every regard. Like, I just picture a guy being like, yeah, America should go to my home and kill everyone. Let's do this.
Okay, in the grand scheme of things, it makes sense in that the Vietnamese immigrants who came over were largely from South Vietnam and Catholic. Yeah. So it makes sense that they would lean right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
However, the overall Dennis Miller description of this tableau.
Oh my God.
Hurts.
Oh my God, you're right. That nickname had to come from Dennis Miller. It's just like,
it was just asshole inception.
Oh my God. So all in all, yeah, it makes perfect sense why hacks like Jay Leno would find endless material in this race and propel it into the national spotlight as a spectacle to never be taken seriously by fucking anyone, despite the fact that the people of California and the majority of the candidates were taking this very seriously. Now, leading into our first debate, of the 135 candidates, there were 6 that were viewed as clear frontrunners, which even that is a bit much. And so let's just get right into all of them. And we're going to go from right to left to get a general idea. So we end on a good note. So on the far right, you have State Assemblyman Tom McClintock. Now, Tom had been born in 1956 in White Plains, New York, which is one of the wealthier towns in New York. And he moved to California to study at UCLA. At the age of 23, he became the chairman of the Ventura County Republican Party, and 3 years later became a state assemblyman. Once again, I've said it once, I'll say it again, never trust a fast ascension.
Yep.
So Tom became a staunch as fuck anti-tax politician. And well, all right, let's just say it. He's a libertarian in red clothing. Dude cites libertarian think tanks throughout all the debates. He wants to gut or privatize nearly all government and hates all taxes known to man. But also he's the guy who made lethal injection an option in the state death penalty in California, which, to give you an idea of how terrible that is. So in 2005, there was a Lancet study that found that the vast majority of people administering lethal injection were not even close to trained in how to administer anesthesia or even the basic drugs being used for the process. And also, there have been multiple administrations of lethal injection that led to prisoners suffering slow and incredibly painful deaths. It is both cruel and unusual, and also, gotta admit, not really libertarian, so I can't really call this guy a full-on libertarian.
Yeah, no, he's just the worst parts of all of it.
Yeah, he's just a gruff weirdo, I think is the best way to describe Tom. So next to him, you have a guy by the name of Peter Ueberroth, who happened to be the former commissioner of Major League Baseball. So Peter was born in 1937 in Evanston, Illinois, and that will haunt me till the end of my days. He would graduate with a degree in business from San Jose State, and during his time there, he attempted to make the U.S. Olympic water polo team, but he didn't make the cut. But it wasn't a complete loss, because after graduating, Peter was hired to be the vice president of Trans International Airlines. And look, as someone who used to be 22, I would say something a 22-year-old should not be in charge of in a high-ranking position is probably plain stuff.
Yeah, no, anything.
Also, how the fuck does that happen? How do you go from college graduate to vice fucking president? Who did he know there?
Because he was born in 1937.
Damn it, God damn it.
There's just
like, I'd believe it more if he went to Stanford or like an Ivy League school. Who the fuck did he would have known at San Jose State that's like, hey, I know a commercial airline that really needs a vice president.
Yeah, no, instead it's just like, what? You have a college degree? Get in here, son. Yeah.
And the thing that burns me is he wouldn't even stay at this company for 4 years. Eventually, he would leave and start his own travel agency, which he turned into the second largest travel company in the nation. But you know what? This guy's got a greater passion than plain shit and travel times. He loves him some sports. And in 1984, he led the charge to bring the Olympics to Los Angeles, a thing that none of the host cities have ever hated or ever regretted. But it was a success. America got to have the Olympics. The commies weren't invited. It was a grand old time.
That's true. Yeah. There wasn't a bombing. Sorry, Atlanta.
Oh, God. Poor Atlanta. And after that success, well, how could Major League Baseball not hire this guy to run an entire fucking league?
Oh, fuck me.
It's such, I don't understand this guy's career path. It's so insane to go from college graduate to vice president of an airplane company to running his own business, which seems to indicate that he had a lot of starting money to begin with, to bringing the Olympics, to suddenly running a league that he has never been involved with in his entire fucking life. And so he would very quickly become a man that the players hated. And initially it was because he cracked down on drug use, mainly cocaine, and ended up suspending about 24 players for cocaine use.
Come on, man. That's the fun drug. That's not for the games.
Look, I don't want to, I don't want to berate people who are in the middle of a struggle, but the 12 people he suspended weren't exactly what you would call good baseball players. Let them have this. So this is a podcast about legalizing cocaine, but only for sports.
Yeah, obviously.
Look, we gotta legalize the fuck out of cocaine.
Let me legalize it for, my local kickball team too. That's sports.
Look, I'm gonna go out here with a hot take. I would watch a game of kickball if it was just a bunch of kids on coke. I don't think they would finish the game. I think it would devolve into very strong conversations about Pokemon and...
Oh, you're talking kids. I'm thinking sure, 22-year-old.
Oh, no, I'm talking children. I am talking...
See, I would love it for company softball outings.
Oh, man, that would be such a great company bonding moment.
Yes. Where everyone...
If that happened, then we'd maybe play an inning and a half, and then everyone would get real deep in the spreadsheets. Someone would rip a whiteboard off the wall and lay it on the grass.
I'm just imagining so much shouting outside and a lot of sweating, even though it's a perfectly breezy 72 degrees.
My God. Welcome to Chicago, the cocaine softball capital of the world. Job happiness is very high.
We've been known for worse.
Look, this is going to be my mayoral campaign.
Honestly, that would be fine.
Anyway, so Peter's here. He's like, no more cocaine for bad players. Good players, we'll talk about it.
Good players, what cocaine?
There were about 10 players who everyone kind of knew were doing cocaine, but were good enough that they couldn't get in trouble, including Dusty Baker, who is a Cubs legend and a Cincinnati Reds legend. He's a major coach right now that everyone respects. So, yay. So he did that. But the real way that he kind of screwed Major League Baseball is what he did in 1985. So you see, teams aren't really doing financially well, and it's mostly because of a thing called free agency. So the general idea with free agency is your contract runs up with a team, and depending on how well you played, other teams can offer you contracts, and they could be for different years, different amounts of money. You can get signing bonuses, and you get to pick whoever the fuck you want to play for. And typically, it's for whoever gives you the gaudiest fucking contract, because there is no limit to the amount of total salary you can have in baseball. The problem, though, was this had only started in 1972, and Major League Baseball teams had no plan for it. Because mainly it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no, you have to open this up. Players should be allowed to use the free market for their own skills, and demanded that these teams do this. And since 1973, the 73 season, teams were losing money every single year. The league was losing money every single year. So Peter Ueberroth pulls together all the owners, calls them, quote, damned dumb, and demanded that they all work together to keep contracts low.
So he put together an oligarchy.
In the business world, this is referred to as collusion.
That's it. Yes.
It's a crime. It is a big fucking crime. So it would take about 3 seasons for Major League Baseball to figure out what the fuck was going on, and the players' union would sue the league and Peter Ueberroth in general. Major League Baseball would end up paying $280 million in fines. And despite all that, Pete still bragged that under his tenure, baseball had its first profitable year in 1987 since free agency had started.
I'm imagining, given the time period, I'm imagining Peter Ueberroth going into the the collusion meeting and just be like, well, the OPEC guys did it. Do you know how much gas I fucking pay for my Buick?
Oh my God.
Fucking do that!
Look, you dumb motherfuckers. Here's what we're gonna do. Don't pay people, you fucking idiots.
We're getting housed by the Middle East.
Oh my God. Well, and the funny thing too is baseball would eventually go on strike in 1995, and almost everyone attributes that to Peter Ueberroth and this collusion that happened because it caused such a rift between the league and the players that they just didn't trust what the league was going to say. And then
now he wants to be governor.
Perfect choice. I'm sure it's going to be fine. And then there's Arnold. And really, I mean, there's not really a ton to say that folks don't already know. So we'll hit the 10 poles. So Arnold was born in 1947 in Thal, Austria. He began his career as a bodybuilder at the age of 14 after heavily considering soccer as the other route, which, not gonna lie, I would watch the fuck out of Arnold Schwarzenegger playing soccer.
Yes.
It would be brutal. Or just seeing him do a fake flop would be funny. So he moved to America at the age of 21 after becoming the youngest Mr. Universe ever the year prior, which I think from what I read was like the big bodybuilding competition in Europe. In 1970, he was offered his first ever movie role, starring in Hercules in New York, under the name of Arnold Strong. And his accent was so thick that they dubbed all of his lines.
Oh, Arnold.
He would mostly be cast in non-speaking roles for the rest of the decade, but it would be in 1982 that he would get his first really big breakthrough role as Conan the Barbarian, and then just classics upon classics. And look, I'm not gonna lie, I really love a lot of his movies.
Yeah, same.
Look, I've been looking for an excuse to talk about this for a while. Total Recall is one of the best accidental feminist movies I've ever seen.
Oh, I will watch it now.
Oh my God, it's so good. All right, so the thing that I love about Arnold Schwarzenegger, especially compared to other action movie stars, is most of them have a clause written in their contract that says I can never be losing a fight in a movie. Arnold gets his fucking ass kicked in so many fucking movies. Like, he is shameless. Like, but the thing I love in Total Recall, he gets kicked in the dick a couple of times. A woman saves him at least twice. The story's really great. It's Paul Verhoeven just being a goddamn lunatic. It's nice. As a movie, it's very fucking good. But yeah, even in his comeback movie, The Last Stand is one of my guiltiest pleasures because it's him being an old man trying to fight people. And the only people helping him are Johnny Knoxville and Luis Guzman. It's amazing. It's such a good, stupid fucking movie. But yeah, I love a lot of his movies just because he's totally fine with getting his ass kicked.
My favorite anecdotal story about Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think this was like well into him in the governorship. Spoiler alert. But but apparently, because he was married to Maria Shriver, who's like, and also like a boss of a woman herself. He bought her clothing, like he knew her measurements and everything, and he would go around and just like, and it wasn't even like if he saw something she might like, he pick it up. It's like, no, like he would fill out her wardrobe because she never had time and she didn't give a shit. She didn't, like, that wasn't what she was into. And so it was just like such a sweet thing, and then it broke my heart that he was like stripping the maid.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely
gonna do that to a Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to hit some moments of like Arnold's very problematic attitude towards women. But yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. As for politics, Arnold points directly to news coverage of the Nixon-Humphrey presidential race in 1968 as the basis for his beliefs. He was watching coverage and a friend of his was translating what was being said. And according to Arnold, the things Humphrey was saying sounded too much like the socialist society that he'd left behind in Austria. And after hearing Nixon speak, Arnold declared himself a Republican on the spot. In 1999, Talk Magazine would ask him if he ever thought about running for political office. Mainly because Arnold, he's never really been shy about his conservative side, but Arnold would essentially say, I'm making too much money in the prime of my acting career. Maybe after that's done, I'll run for something. So you heard it here. We can blame Terminator 3 for Arnold running for office.
I knew it!
Yeah, Terminator 3, The Sixth Day, End of Days. Oh my God, he had such a Collateral Damage. He just had a whole series of the worst movies. And then comes Cruise. Look, we've talked about Cruise already. I'm not going to repeat all that. But after him would come the sole independent candidate, an author by the name of Arianna Huffington.
Arianna!
Oh my God, look, I have come to really love Arianna Huffington after watching all the debates. I know it's the things that annoyed me back then, I now find kind of charming and great. It's very weird. So Arianna was born in 1950 in Athens, Greece, and would move to Britain at the age of 16 to study at Cambridge. She would study economics and became the third woman ever to lead the Cambridge Union. Arianna's writing career would begin in 1973 with her book, The Female Woman, where she attacked the women's liberation movement, making the claim in her book, quote, Women's Lib claims that the achievement of total liberation would transform the lives of all women for the better. The truth is, it would only transform the lives of women with strong lesbian tendencies.
Arianna.
Her origin story is not great. Arianna had some terrible fucking opinions for a while. And this book really kind of set the tone for a lot of her work throughout the 90s. She would marry her husband, Michael, who would run and lose his Senate race in 1994, and she supported all of his conservative views. She was a supporter of Newt Gingrich. She endorsed Bob Dole in 1996. She wrote on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher in 1997. I think she won an Emmy for that, too.
What?
Yeah, she was like the one woman that Bill Maher let work on his staff.
Am I totally misremembering her? Because I only know her really for her like Huffington Post work.
No, early on, like she just had a real political shift. And it seems like that shift kind of came in 1997 or 1998. And that would be the year that her and Michael would end up getting divorced. But the larger news came out the next year when Michael announced to the world that he was bisexual. And the couple acknowledges that wasn't really a secret between them. When they first started dating, Michael admitted that to her and she was totally fine with it. And so they just kind of made it work. But the subject of LGBTQ rights seems to have been an inflection point for her. By the election in 2003, she was portraying herself as a mix of kind of a centrist, but a lot more of a progressive. And not all of her policies are super progressive, but I think in her mind, I'm not in this two-party system, and I'm thinking outside of it. And so for her, that kind of fits more the progressive label than, say, Medicare for all and those
sure.
things. And finally, we have our last person, a fellow by the name of Peter Camejo, the main Green Party nominee. And so Peter was born in 1939 in New York City, but spent the majority of his childhood transitioning between Queens and Venezuela. His mom lived in Queens, his dad lived in Venezuela. They'd gotten divorced, and so he went to Venezuela in the summer and Queens during the winter, which seems backwards, but I get it. So Peter would begin his college studies at MIT, but would then transfer to California, Berkeley. Now, things wouldn't go great at Cal Berkeley because he would get suspended for, quote, using an unauthorized microphone at a Vietnam War rally.
So protesting.
I pose this question to you, Una. In 1967, what do you have to do to protest so hard that Berkeley kicks you out?
Oh, okay. Wait, but no, I was reading about this not long ago that there, like around that time, there was a lot of older administration, younger student warring. And in fact, there's a, not a quad, but like a pedestrian way on campus where it's like people could set up their, tables and things for.
Oh shit. I can't remember the name of this. Yeah. It's like a park.
Yeah. And that got because more and more of those tables were being tabled, I guess, by anti-war protesters and also just general counterculture, fuck the administration and fuck Berkeley, for various reasons. And so they kind of shut all that down. And then that only brought more students onto the side of the protesters, yada, yada.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the People's Park.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I completely forgot about that. All right. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense then. But it also probably didn't help that Ronald Reagan viewed him as one of the 10 most dangerous people in the country by name. And it was entirely due to the fact that Peter Camejo was at so many protests.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, badge of honor, but
I know, right? It's that would be kind of a cool thing to just be at so many protests that Ronald Reagan in his youth is like, I don't like that guy. That's not
seems a little shifty.
Oh, man. But it also probably didn't help that Peter was a member of the Socialist Workers' Party.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. And as for running for things, well, Peter had a really quick trajectory. In 1965, he ran as the Socialist Workers nominee for New York City Council president, and he lost by a bunch. Didn't even get 1%.
Oof.
He ran for mayor of Berkeley in 1967 and got 2.85% of the vote, so not terrible. We really need to talk about that election because there was at least one other heavy counterculture person running for mayor of that city against what I assume to be an old school Republican. So it seems like it'd be a very funny time to read about. And then he would end up running for president as the Socialist Workers nominee in 1976. He got 0.9% of the vote, I believe, 0.09, very low amount, which was kind of funny because the party kicked him out 4 years later.
Peter, what did you do?
All right, so this is going to piss you off so much. I get it. You're very heavy into socialism. This is going to burn you. So the Socialist Workers Party decided they were having issues retaining members, probably because they could never get on the ballot and they're really bad at running campaigns and they really have no, what's the word I'm looking for, success in any regard. And so they decided the only way that they could really raise membership is if everyone in the party got jobs at factories or farms, and then you can recruit from within.
No, that's when you get your ass beat.
Yeah, someone's going to end up in a smelter and not be seen again.
Yeah, either by management or the union rep.
That is one. We have a union. They are the mob. We're good. And Peter, he might have viewed this as a bad idea, but also he might have been like, I don't want to work at a fucking factory. I joined the higher ranks of this party for a fucking reason. I run for shit and I don't win. That's what I fucking do.
Yeah, let me be a thinker, not a maker.
Yeah, and look, I get that. As someone who both sucks at physical labor and should not be allowed to do physical labor, I totally get it. If you need a guy to carry something in the worst and most awkward way possible, I'm your guy, especially if it is bigger than me and someone else is relying on me to do the job right.
You want me to move something heavy? Well, I have a question for you. How much Vicodin do you have on you right now?
Yeah. We'll trade moving for Vicodin. Yeah, and so suddenly Peter became really into democratic socialism, and the party was like, travesty, get out! And they kicked him out in 1980.
Purity!
That's the thing I love. You're a party that's already struggling for membership to the point that you have to figure out a plan, and then you still keep kicking out members who are the most successful in your group.
Yeah.
God, Socialist Workers Party pisses me off so much. It is just every time I see them on the ballot somewhere, it's like, oh, did you get 3 votes? Oh, you were a write-in candidate? Was it too bourgeois to collect signatures, you fuck?
Do you have 3 votes, but there are 7 people in your party? The other 4 defected the day before the election and formed a new party.
Look, I'm working on the 14th draft of my treatise, so we had more important things. By the way, I cannot work at the factory. I have been fired for being bad at it. So Peter's now lost to the wolves. He's in the democratic socialism world, and the Green Party brings him in as quick as fucking possible. This guy is a fucking get for them. And while Peter might seem like a typical Green Party candidate with not really a ton of a chance to win, it should be noted that he was their nominee for governor in 2002, and he scored 5.3% of the vote. Which was
it
was the highest score for a third party since the Prohibition Party got 7% in 1946, and was enough to make the Green Party an official third party in California, which meant 65 signatures, motherfucker. No cash, deal with it.
Beep, 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 beep.
And 3 other Greens took him up on it. Look, you find 65 Greens.
Seriously, though, are there?
Yeah, like Peter, I'm sure he knew 65 Greens, but if you're like a Green Party person in, I don't know, Barstow, California, best of fucking luck.
Yeah.
Like, there aren't enough Reiki studios to find 65 Greens in that county.
Yeah, try not to get shot at.
Oh, man. And now we've got a full field. We got 3 Republicans, a Democrat, an Independent, and a Green. All they got to do is beat the goddamn Terminator. And next time, we're going to find out how they didn't. It's a wonderful mix of incompetence, wearing out your welcome, not really understanding comedy, and pissing off all the wrong people. And most of that applies to Cruz Bustamante.
Oh, no.
It's Bustamante. A tragic time. But I promise you will probably fall in love just a little bit with Arianna Huffington.
Who's hoping?
I mean,
like that.
All I can say is she is feisty and fucking hilarious. But yeah, thoughts? What are you thinking so far here with California?
Oh my God, this just makes me want to go and watch a couple episodes of Sons of Anarchy. That's all I can think of is how some of those Northern California cities are just weird.
Yeah, it's pot and violent. It's good.
Yeah, it's pot and old school gangs.
Oh my God. Yeah, it makes me so excited in a very morbid way for this recall election that's seeming more and more going to happen, because I think the barrier to entry is still the same.
Yeah, and there were so many people who voted in the last election.
Yeah. And it's already easy enough to get onto the ballot in California as is. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we had like 200 people on this ballot. And at least this time we have electronic voting, so we're not printing off, War and Peace versions of ballots.
Oh my God.
It's we're living in beautiful times, Una.
Great. Yeah. I also have to pay my taxes.
Yeah. God damn it, motherfuckers.
Which will go towards this recall some way.
Oh my God. Yeah. So prepare for the next episode. We're going to be talking a lot about car taxes, whether or not undocumented people should be allowed to have driver's licenses, and the Game Show Network.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Going to be a fun time. So thanks for joining us, y'all. We'll see you next week when we crown a winner out of 135 people and talk about which weirdos ended up winning the top 10 on Gadfly. Oh man, I forgot the tag at the end. God damn it. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?